Before humans invented the wheel, these gods invented humans. Nothing repeats. Everything is new. They control the narrative. History evolves, but only through their guidance. Time isn't linear. They loop it. The Earth wasn't ours. It was gifted to us. And nothing happens outside of their design. We call them gods, aliens, the Illuminati. But their oldest name is Anunnaki. 6,000 years ago, the Sumerians didn't dream the gods up. They recorded them on stone tablets, cylinder seals, and clay records, and they did it thousands of years before Christ. Enki, Enlil, Ku, Anu, beings from the sky, described in detail. Tall, radiant, controlling. They taught astronomy, mathematics, irrigation, metallurgy, and, most of all, they taught worship. They weren't myths. They were doctors, scientists, and administrators. They're our overlords. And then, as mankind began to pull together, they disappeared. Or did they just change tactics? In a single generation, we jumped from tribal nomads to city builders, from animal skin rags to written language, advanced agriculture, metallurgy, and architecture. No technological progression, no transitional artifacts. There was no curve, there was just a leap in genetics. Anthropologists call it the Sumerian problem. Geneticists call it sudden brain expansion. Scripture calls it divine intervention. Zecharia Sitchin had another word for it: engineering. The Anunnaki call Planet X Nibiru. And it is statistically improbable that it isn't out there, in the far reaches of the solar system, on the homeward-bound leg of its journey. 450,000 years ago, as they approached Earth and the inner solar system, Anunnaki royalty set sail from Nibiru, bound for Earth. The Anunnaki needed labor. They made us. Modern genetics backs this up. Human chromosome 2 is a fusion of 2 ape chromosomes. Our sudden brain growth is statistically unnatural. Mitochondrial DNA contains anomalies not seen in any other species. We were not born, we were activated. But then, we unified, built towers, cities, global languages, and that's when the Anunnaki split us. The Tower of Babel isn't metaphor. It's maintenance protocol. Ancient Akkadian tablets tell of Enlil scattering tribes, of tongues confused, of unity disrupted deliberately. Why? Because unity is a threat to control. When humans unite, we can outgrow our gods. So they fragmented us, split us into nations, into races, into religions, then sat back and watched. They didn't vanish. They embedded. They mixed with humans and formed the bloodlines to rule Earth. Gilgamesh was 2/3 god. Pharaohs declared their relation to the gods. Europe's monarchs, to this day, claim the divine right to rule based on ancestry, not mythology, lineage. Today, these bloodlines control the world we live in, not just as kings, but as CEOs, presidents, central bankers, the global elite, Bilderberg Group, Council on Foreign Relations, World Economic Forum, Trilateral Commission, Club of Rome. Different names, same families, same old gods. And they left structures, not monuments, but mechanisms. The pyramids of Egypt, Sudan, China, all align with Orion's belt, the same star system linked to Osiris, to Enki, to Sirius. Stonehenge, Teotihuacan, Göbekli Tepe, astronomical markers and energy amplifiers, each one built with lost techniques, aligned to solstices, placed on global magnetic grid points. Even modern researchers admit we still can't replicate their precision, and around each site, reports of unexplained lights, magnetic disturbances, crop circles, UFO sightings that date back to antiquity. They are always there. They are always watching. The Anunnaki are mortal, and couldn't maintain the illusion of deities. The people would realize that their gods become sick, that they grow old, that they die. So, a strategy was formed and they went underground. They stopped appearing in gold helmets drawn by chariots, and now they wear suits, lab coats, robes, uniforms. They don't fly in ships, they appear in meetings. In 2001, Dr. Stephen Greer launched the Disclosure Project. Hundreds of high-ranking military and aerospace officials testified on camera about recovered craft, non-human intelligence, and reverse-engineered technology. They weren't laughed off. They were silenced, evidence buried, credibility destroyed, momentum snuffed out. But not because the disclosure movement was necessarily exposing aliens. It was coming too close to the original architects. Then, in 2020, dozens of silent drones hovered over restricted airspace, military bases, nuclear sites. Local police had no jurisdiction. The FAA didn't respond. The Pentagon called them routine. But the patterns they flew matched constellation alignments, the same celestial maps the Anunnaki used. They weren't surveillance. They were signals. They were calls to awaken the agents that the Anunnaki had embedded in society. Apparently unconnected events form a large infinity symbol when viewed through the lens of deep time. The Crusades weren't just religious wars. They were recon missions, retrieving ancient relics from Anunnaki strongholds. The Nazi obsession with the occult is rooted in Thule society doctrine, claiming contact with ancient sky beings. Project Paperclip brought those Nazi scientists to America. They built NASA. They built MK Ultra. They took over the United States. They built the world you now live in. Even Operation High Jump, a massive U.S. military expedition to Antarctica in 1947, was led by Admiral Byrd, who later warned of aircraft that could fly pole to pole at incredible speeds. What were they chasing? Or who was testing them? The Anunnaki influence is global, but concentrated. Their fingerprints show up in every system designed to manage humanity. Central banking, controlled by ancient family names tied to Babylonian finance. Pharmaceuticals, suppressing natural remedies, enhancing dependency on the chemicals they create. Agriculture, patented seeds, synthetic food, nutritional depletion. Digital media, narrative control, behavioral tracking, space policy, obsessive secrecy, blocked lunar data, privatized satellite grids. Why so much control over the sky, over the genome, over the food? Because as we prepare for disclosure, they prepare for war. They prepare for a war worthy of the gods. Let's look at modern distraction. In 2023, whistleblower David Grush revealed classified U.S. programs that recovered non-human craft. Mainstream media covered it. Congress held hearings. And then, silence. No outrage, no answers, just a shrug. That's how good the system is now. The Anunnaki don't need lies. They rely on exhaustion, on overload, on attention spans destroyed by design. So, what do they want? Not resources. They already own them, not worship. We've outgrown it. What they want is containment. The one thing they've never managed, the one threat they can't erase, is awakening. Humanity was made in their image, but we've evolved, and they know it. They remember when they were like us, curious, defiant, boundless, and they fear what we'll become if we ever stop fighting their wars, consuming their poison, worshipping their systems. The Anunnaki are not a race. They are a program, a directive, a hierarchy that outlived its creators. And now it runs through data, through bloodlines, through rituals and resets. through everything you're told not to question. They are kings. They are corporations. They are influencers. They are your algorithm. So what now? Now you look again at the names, at the symbols, at the laws, at the unexplained. You trace the arc from Babel to Google, from pyramids to biotech, from the gods of fire to the cloud above your head. And now we begin to remember. We recognize the master of the puppet, the little man behind the curtain, their sacred system of control. Only now do we begin to ask, if they are so frightened of a world united by the human race, why should we be at all frightened of them? This is Halt on YouTube and Patreon. Please like, share, and subscribe. The deeper dives, downloadable documents, and one-on-one discussions are at the Halt channel on Patreon.